All right, hey everyone, welcome back. Hopefully you guys had a much better day than we did yesterday. It wasn't as bad, I guess. That's the main thing. That's a good thing too. So today we were down for the most part. Some miners actually were able to squeak out a green, which was nice. Bitcoin was still in the red. It's in the green a little bit, at least right now. Last time I checked was about 15, 20 minutes ago. We'll take a look at what happened, obviously, with Bitcoin miners today. We'll also take a look at, what else do we have? Miners, how did they do in September? So we'll score those guys, give you guys which ones did the best there. And we'll get into Q&A here. Should be pretty short and sweet here. And then the big question is the panic sell-off done with? I think it is. We'll take a look at, obviously, the charts. We'll talk about it at that point. But as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what happened today with Bitcoin here. Bitcoin obviously had a pretty rough week this week. So let's go here. We want to go into this chart. We can see here on Bitcoin on a daily here, we are down basically 4 days in a row here, which wasn't great. We started out Monday, okay, we were slightly in the green, but then we were down on Tuesday, 1.91%. We were down on Wednesday, 2%, down 2.35 on Thursday, and we were down again today, 1.6%. So overall, probably going to be in the red here for the week on Bitcoin. Miners, on the other hand, actually had much better weeks than Bitcoin did here. Bitcoin right now on the new day for Saturday is up just a little bit, 0.09% there. We are below the 200 SMA. That didn't hold for us. I was hoping it would hold for us, but it didn't. We have seen that. We talked about it yesterday that we have broken below the 200 SMA in the past, and we've eventually gotten over it. So it'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin does over the weekend and then going into next week as well. Some of the FUD around the tariffs with China, right? Trump posted today that it's not going to be as bad as people think. So that kind of helped out the markets. Obviously, the markets were up today as well. Dow Jones was up, and NASDAQ was up, S&P was up. And then the Russell 2000 was actually down a little bit here, which I think was part of the reason why the miners were down for the most part, but still not as bad as they were yesterday. So there's that part of it. Ethereum was also down today just a little bit here, was down 1.59. It's in the green right now, and then new day for it. And then with the sell-off, is the sell-off done and over with here? It kind of looks like it. We might still have a day or two next week where we're being tested, right, until things probably smooth over even more with the tariff freak out that everybody has been on. Also with the regional banks having issues, and then the credit card delinquencies being up also. People are freaking out over that. So, and then we also had options expirations this week, today, Friday. So that didn't help out, but things got obviously cleansed out, and I think people will rethink, reevaluate, and what has happened here in the last couple of days, and then maybe smarter heads will prevail, or cooler heads will prevail going into next week here. That is just my take on it. We'll see if that's going to play out that way, though. But right now, things are looking okay. We needed a little bit of pullback, not as much as I thought we were going to get on Bitcoin, but the miners definitely got a major pullback here, but they're still usually in the green here for the week. We'll cover that on Sunday's show when we talk about the Bitcoin miners versus Bitcoin there on that. But right now, miners did okay today. They were much lower in the beginning. Bitfarms was able to squeak out only a 5.11% loss there today. BitDeer was down quite a bit here. It was down 7.19% to being down much lower also. I mean, but you can see here, this thing has had a huge pump here after the release on Wednesday for, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, I can't remember now. Their operations and their speed of execution going into AI as well. So that is going to be happening there, and that obviously helped them out tremendously. Kang was down just a little bit today, was down 0.48%. Cypher finished out the day actually in the green after being much lower, like a lot of these guys here. But it was up 0.21% there. Cleanspark was only down 2.33% after being down much lower also. CORZ was down 3.41%. Hive was down 2.23%. Hut 8 was down 0.66%, just a little bit. IREN also down 1.8%. Mara was down 3.43%. Riot was actually up today 2.46%. And Wolf was up 0.51%. You can see a lot of these guys still had a really good week here nonetheless. Bitcoin holding companies, MicroStrategy was up 2.12%. Galaxy was down 5.67%. Block was up 0.89%. Coin was up 1.75%. Metaplanet was down 6.51%. This thing just continues to slide down here. Exodus was down 1.27%. This is Nexon. Nexon was down 2.71%. Semler was down 6.04%. I mean, you're seeing a lot of these treasure companies sliding down here, getting to lower lows here, looks like, on a lot of these guys. Phoenix was down 4.76%. GameStop was up 0.52% as well. And then small miners were down for the most part, except for, it looks like DigiPower here. And it was down 17.92%. Let's see if this loads. Yeah, I mean, it had a wild day yesterday, being actually up and then finally cooling off here. So some manipulation happening there on that one, I believe. Argo had a nice run last week, and it's been, people are obviously taking profits in that, selling out of that. DigiPower continues to have a pretty nice run here recently. DMG was down 2.72%. Mawson was down 2.4%. Canon was down 4.19%. And then the Bitcoin miner ETFs were down also just a little bit. BitQ being down 1.58. BKCH down 2.24. DAP being down 1.6. DGHI 1.85. So overall, not too bad there on those guys. Definitely got pounced yesterday, though. Ethereum holding companies here were down 2.41 for BMNR. BTBT, which is BitDigital, was down 1.08. BTCS was down up 3.34%. Game was up 0.7, and SBET was down 1.58 there. I mean, you can see these guys are kind of like range bound almost, it seems like right now. Other companies that we track here, American Bitcoin was down again, 5.77%. This thing has been on a downward slide here ever since it looks like the beginning of October here. October 2nd is when it kind of peaked here recently, at least. Has been coming down ever since then. It has been this low since basically July, it looks like. Next one up, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was down a little bit today, 3.72%. Open was up 0.7. Oracle was down today, 6.93%. Not sure why, what happened there. Let's see if we got anything news on them. Oracle's stock is priced at $2.99. A bullish investor selling in the November what else? Barron's, I don't see anything. Barron's mailback Oracle's alarming level of debt. They do have a lot of debt, but is that the reason why it's sold off here? Nibia, same thing, sold off down 7.8% on that one. Soluna was actually up to date, 5.49%. Excuse me. And then backed down 8.81%. Fermi was down 8.97%. Right, this is a new entrant into the AI data center space there. That went public here recently. So that one is down right now after being up quite a bit here to 36.99. But that's the case with a lot of these things. As far as the miners here in the after hours right now, we can see here that some of these, well, quite a few of these guys are actually in the positive here. BitDeer is up 1.96%. Bitfarms is up 6.56%, pretty much erasing all the losses that it had today. Cypher is now up 2.83%. Cleanspark is up 1.7%. CORZ Scientific is flat right now. Hive Digital is up 1.22%. We got Hut 8 being up 0.19%. IREN is actually in the green now, 1.04%. Mara is up 0.77%. Riot is down 0.05%. TerraWolf is up 2.28%. And lastly, Soluna here that we kind of keep an eye on as well is up 1.58%. So overall, not too bad. Maybe cooler heads are starting to prevail here in the markets a little bit. We will definitely see how they do next week, though. We have basically 2 weeks left in October. So far, October has been a disaster for Bitcoin, and not so much the Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin miners are still doing pretty good here, all things considered, though. But Bitcoin's down 6.12% for October right now, which historically, October has been a really good month. That's why we call it Uptober instead of October. But, you know, things can definitely change for us here next week and the following week. We'll see if we turn positive on October. And I was expecting us to be somewhere up like 10% to 15% up in this month. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case, though, right now at least. So we will definitely follow that closely, see where that goes. Bitcoin ETF inflows here, see what we got on that. All right, BlackRock sold out a little bit yesterday, only 29.5 million here. That total 530 million in outflows. Today we got 98 million outflows, and we were still waiting on BlackRock to report there on it. The only story that I do have here, which is kind of good, is from Wall Street Engine here on X. Goldman Sachs is forming a new infrastructure and real asset finance group to focus on AI data centers, renewables, and defense projects. Per Wall Street Journal there, the team led by John Greenwood will arrange loans and investor deals to capitalize on the surge in AI-related financing demand. So more money is going to be flowing into the space going forward as well. So that's good news, right? Love seeing that because that's going to be good for, obviously, the BTC AI miners that are in the space, obviously including Cypher, IREN, Cleanspark, Riot, Hut 8, Hive, BitDeer, and pretty much everybody else, right? So that's going to be good news there. All right, that's all I got as far as news today. Today was a busy day for me, so I didn't get much chance to do much research, but this is the only thing I could find relatively quickly here. As far as the miners here, let's take a look at those. How did they do in September here against each other? So on this comparison, we always look at the month-over-month hash rate growth, Bitcoin percentage sold, Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, BTC mined, days mined, current hash rate, and current HODL as well. And then we score them based on those figures. So the ones that did best get 1, and then the ones that went down the line get an additional point added on. So the one with the lowest score points comes out the top there. So month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, Hive had the best there, 20% growth month-over-month, followed by Bitdeer at 16.35. Then we got Cypher at 3.04%, and Mara at 1.67%. Everybody else was pretty much flat, with one exception there. IREN, we don't know about IREN. IREN's now reporting their monthly updates, so they're still in here, but I'm going to be taking them out here probably the next time around. They're going to be out. Okay, so remember that. Current hash rate, Mara still the biggest there, 60 exahash, followed by IREN, Cleanspark and Kango tied for the number 2 spot with 50 exahash. Riot at 35. Bitdeer now kind of gaining on Riot there a little bit. They're only 500 petahash away from overtaking basically Riot. 35 exahash. Cypher's at 21.9. Hive is at 21.7. Core is at 17.6, maybe even lower than that because they don't report also, but we can actually see what they mined on their X post for the daily production updates. Okay. BTC per exahash efficiency, higher is better. This is their how efficient are they at mining. So Bitdeer came in number 1 with 12.9. Cleanspark at second spot with 12.58. Riot with 12.53. Number 3 spot. Kango number 4 spot with 12.33. And Hive came in at 12.3 with number 5 spot there. You can see the rest of them below that. Month-over-month BTC mine percentage here. Bitdeer improved by 20%, followed by Hive by 8%, Mara by 4%, and Cypher by 3.39. Cleanspark actually lost a little bit of Bitcoin or had lower production. Down 4.26%. Core was down 4.43. Riot was down 6.71, and Kango was down 7.1. IREN we don't know, so that's a negative 100% there because we just don't know it. Bitcoin mined here, Mara was the top dog. 736 Bitcoin mined here. Cleanspark came in second with 629. Kango with 660, number 3 spot. Bitdeer with number 4 spot with 452, and Riot with number 5 spot, 445 Bitcoin. Followed by Hive at 267, Cypher at 244, Core at 157. And then for days mined, obviously we want to see them mining for more days than not. Bitdeer came in number 1 with 29.37 days, looks like being mined. Hive 28's number 2 spot. Cleanspark number 3 spot with 27 days. Riot with 27 also. And change there. Kango 26 days. Mara with 26. Cypher 24. And Core at 19 days. That's what I'm saying. I think Core's hash rate is much lower than this. Maybe they are mining only for 19 days. Who knows? We don't have that information on them, so that's why they're at the bottom there. And then HODL position. We know Mara obviously has the highest HODL there with 52,150. Riot with 19,287, Cleanspark at 13,000, Kango at 5,810, and Bitdeer at 2,029. So those are the top 5. Followed by Cypher at 1,500, Core at 1,190. We think, we don't know because they're not reporting that anymore. Hive at 580 right now, more or less. And then Bitcoin sold here, percentage sold. Kango didn't sell anything. Mara sold 50% of their HODL there. No, not 50% of their HODL. 50% of what they generated in September. Cypher sold 64%, Cleanspark sold 70%, Bitdeer sold 79%, Hive sold 100%, Riots sold 104.9% there. IREN we don't know, and Core we don't know. So they're at the bottom of the barrel there as it is. All right, so total metrics, scores, lower is better. Scores based on the 8 metrics. We got Bitdeer coming in number 1 with 23 points, Mara with 24 points, number 3 spot, and Cleanspark number 3 spot with 26 points, followed by Kango, number 4 spot with 32, Riot with number 36, and Hive with 36, so they're tied for number 5 spot there, and you can see the other ones there. Scores based on the 6 metrics without HODL or current hash rate. We got Bitdeer coming in number 1 again with 14 points, Cleanspark number 2 spot with 21, Mara at number 3 along with Hive there with 22 points, followed by Kango number 4 there with 26 points, and then we got Riot and Cypher tied for number 5 spot with 31 points based on that. Here are the individual metrics for the scores of each of these companies. Bitdeer, really good on a lot of things here this time around, right? Way below average on a lot of these things, which is nice to see there. You can see how they got scored. Mara, good on obviously quite a few things as well. About average on some things. Days mined, BTC per exahash. And you got Cleanspark here below average on most things, a little high on month-over-month hash rate growth. Right, not much hash rate. They're supposed to get to 60 exahash by the end of the year. We haven't seen any updates as far as them growing currently, at least. So maybe we'll get some growth here happening in October, November as well. Well, we really should then if they're targeting 60 exahash. Okay, and then month-over-month BTC mine percentage as well. Kango, good on some things as far as they haven't sold anything, right? They're holding everything, but that also could result. Well, they got a small team there, so I don't think they need to dilute to do that. But that's that one. Riot here, pretty good on a lot of things. A little above average on month-over-month BTC mined and Bitcoin sold there. Hive, good on obviously month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, month-over-month BTC mined. High on quite a few things here, so I'd like to see those things improve there a little bit. Cypher, more things above average, and then we got Core here, same thing, more things above average, and IREN obviously didn't report, so they're at the very end here. They got the worst scores out of pretty much everything here because we just don't know on these things. And then when we look at the total metrics, 12 months averages, lower is obviously better on these things. Averages for the 12 months and on the whole 8 metrics. Cleanspark still on average coming out the best here and out of the miners here over the last 12 months with on average 26 points, followed by Mara 27. Kango, I got only like 4 or 5 months of data on them, so take that with a grain of salt there. Riot would be number 3, and then IREN number 4, and Hive. Obviously, IREN got hit with not having the data here for this month of September. Looking at the 12 months on the 6 metrics, not including hot wallet hash rate. Cleanspark still number 1 with 21 points on average, followed by Kango, again, a couple months of data on them, so take that with a grain of salt. Mara with 25 points, IREN with 27, Hive with 28, Riot 29. You can see the rest as well. And then here's the raw data that I have on these guys. Track a lot of stuff here as well. And yeah, we'll take out IREN probably next time around. And then we'll see who else is going to leave us for the monthly production updates. Anybody want to take their bets as far as who's going to be next to leave? We've already seen, obviously, Bitfarms leave. IREN now leaving as well. TerraWolf leaving. Core, Hut 8 as well. I mean, that's basically 5 out of the large miners, at least, that we track. So not a good good ratio, I guess you could say. So I'm thinking eventually we'll probably start seeing more and more of these guys probably stop providing them, which is unfortunate. I love seeing the data. I'm sure you guys did as well. But it is what it is. We'll deal with it. I always want to have more data than less. But that's just me. I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same way on it. Okay. That is it. Spreadsheets will be available to Patreon members as always. The link for that will be down in the description. And let's get into Q&A here. So what you guys have to say on any of this stuff or all of this stuff or anything particular. All right, let's get into it here. See what you guys have to say. As always, questions, if you could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it here. And let me see here really quick. I'm going to scroll my way up and then scroll my way back down. I'll get through all the questions here. Just be patient. It may take me a little while here. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Okay, trying to find some questions. All right. Kaz says, hi, Sub. Today's sell-off isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be kind of a little bit more muted, right? We had a major sell-off yesterday, so I was expecting a little bit more muted of a sell-off, and we did get that. Raz, when Riot will announce HPCI deal, they are making Corsicana and Rockdale facilities. We don't know on that one. Right? They've been trying to get a deal, or they've been working on trying to get a deal since late last year, right? When they paused their Bitcoin hash rate expansion. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Don't know. Maybe they'll provide some. Well, they're going to provide obviously their not operational, their quarterly results on October 30th, I think it is. So maybe we'll get some details on that at that time. All right. Sadie, thank you as always so much for the likes there. Alandine, is it a good time to accumulate now that given miners have sold off? I am tempted. Your advice, please. Well, as always, my advice is not financial advice, but I would say buy the dips, buy on red days, try to dollar cost averaging on those things if you can. I think we're getting close to bottoming out here. Right. We just need one good tweet from Trump there and things are going to rally like crazy. So this is possibly a gift to buy in more if you wanted to buy in or if you haven't bought in yet. Roz, when Mara will announcing that they are moving to HPCI, did they have any facilities to start HPCI? They do have a bunch of facilities that they own right now, right? 65% of the hash rate that they own is through their own facilities. The rest of the stuff is hosted there, so they could do something, but we haven't seen anything on that. They took a what is it? Not a partnership. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the term right now. But they took they invested in a company that does AI data centers there. So hopefully something will be coming down that pipe there. All right, Raz, another question here. What is your price targets for Riot, Mara, and Cleanspark when will be peak price, means last quarter 25 or first quarter of 2026? Peak price, that's going to, I mean, geez. I don't have a crystal ball on that. I don't know. I think Riot, obviously, if they get a deal for HPCI, they will go higher. How much higher? They could go up 35, 50%, even higher than that. Mara, same thing with them. If they actually announce something for that, they will go up. Cleanspark is obviously going pretty hard in that direction. We're seeing, obviously, Matt be in all over the places. Last time we saw him was in Texas, looking at some sites potentially, right? He said he loves Texas there, so there might be something happening there. But yeah, I mean, Cleanspark, I think, should be still at least $25 to $35 in range, somewhere between there as far as for their valuation. So I think there's still a lot more room to run up. And as far as when do we peak, geez, I think we'll probably peak sometime next year. I think there's still a couple more months to run in this. And then if they get deals or if they build out their AI data centers, whatever it might be, those things are still going to run there. That's just my thoughts, though. Dean, throughout the BTC panic sell-off this week, I feel miners were still holding steady despite some correction. What's your thoughts and feel next week? Next week's we can potentially see upside. I think we will by the end of the week. I think we'll start seeing some of the miners move back up here. I mean, we already saw some of them do that already today. So I would expect more of that to happen next week as well. All right. Dean says, please cover Canon, DMGI, Soluna. If it's a good to buy now. All of those guys have had a nice run here recently. I would have to look more into, obviously, those guys. Soluna, obviously, I think, I could be wrong here, but I think Soluna's just being manipulated. I could be wrong. Maybe unless there is something happening there, and maybe they are getting a deal with somebody or something. But the hard part for them is, or for me at least, is they are always doing these kind of projects where they partner with another entity. So it's never 100% on them. It's always them with somebody else. So that makes it a little bit more challenging to see what is the partnership like, what's the percentage that they're getting there for that stuff. But yeah, they have been doing a lot better here this past year, I guess you could say. SH, how to find out who finds Bitfarms convertible notes? Charging 1.37 interest is very low unless they have skin in the game or they are beneficiary of a contract. That I do not know. But IREN got a 0%, right? So I think it just depends on, I think they're looking at your possibilities as far as your sites, location of the sites. I think that's kind of what they're looking at. Obviously, we know that IREN's going to be generating roughly, they're saying 500 million annual run rate next year. So that kind of helped out with their convertible notes. And we've seen others as well with like 0%. So 1.37 is good, right? Compared to what TeraWolf just got. TeraWolf got what, 7.75 or something like that, 7.25, I can't remember, which is obviously pretty costly there. So I think it just depends on a bunch of things here. Carl, let's remember options Friday, September had a fairly sizable sell-off. Then following week, we got back to business. The bigger the run-up, the bigger the pullback. Locked and loaded for next run. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've heard other people say the same thing. I've heard Mike Alfred was on a space today. He was basically saying the same thing, that we're seeing this kind of thing happening. Miners are still in the green for the month. So yeah, for the week even. So I think this is just par for the course, unfortunately. But in the long run, we're going to be green. We are green right now as it is, but I think it's just going to be a bumpy ride nonetheless. All right, Rob, question: what has Bitfarms going forward that can explode the stock that Hive doesn't have, or is it the other way around? Okay. Bitfarms says sites in the United States, right? They got Washington sites. They have also Pennsylvania sites. They got 2 or 3 sites in Pennsylvania. I can't remember now. But they got those. So I think that helps out. They also have a board member now that was on Amazon's, worked works for Amazon, right? So he's got some context there. That might be a good thing for them as well. So I think there's more potential for Bitfarms, especially if they're able to capitalize on their AI sites and things like that they want to do. I think there might be just more upside on that one. We'll see. Let's see. John Kurtz says, added Cleanspark and Cypher today. The bigger the dip, the stronger the rip. Stock remembers price. Yeah, that is also true. All right, Christopher, a 50-point rate cut could do wonders to the portfolio at the end of the month. Hopeful. I don't think we're going to get 50-point rate cut. I think we'll get 25. I think 50 might actually spook the market, right? That would be a signal to the market that maybe things aren't as rosy as everybody's portraying them to be, right? Or maybe not as bad, but I wouldn't want that. I want 25. Let's go slowly, see where we end up at. Ashwin, what do you think about Wolf? Wolf, I mean, they got 3.2 billion convertible notes right now. They're obviously up to something there, so they're building something. Or working towards something, I should say. So they're doing actually really, really good here. It's hard to tell what's going on there because they don't provide operational updates anymore. But what we do know is they are obviously progressing. They have a deal with FluidStack and Google there being backed by that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just every time they get a deal or something like that, that stock's going to go up at that point. All right. Gary Pallet, question, are you considering selling IREN because they did so poorly on your monthly analysis? No. Well, there was no monthly analysis for them because they didn't provide it. So, I mean, that's kind of why, but no. Right? We've known how they have operated here in the past. We've watched them grow tremendously. We've seen them execute fantastically. So I'm willing to bet that they're going to do the same thing in the AI space as we're kind of already seeing right now, right? They're already 23,000 GPUs. They're saying in short term they should be to 60,000 GPUs. So that is going to be a catalyst that's going to drive the stock there even forward more. Let's see. Right now, maybe a good time to sell and wait on the silence to re-enter. There have been 40% drops. With Bitcoin or just the miners themselves, there have been in the past. Yeah, we had one earlier this year that was down 30-some%. So it does happen. But those are buying opportunities, in my opinion. Let's see. All right. Does Riot still want to buy? No, they are probably sold out completely by now. I would imagine with the stock having a nice run up here if they weren't already. We know that they were selling at 90 cents, $1 or whatever it was at that point. And the last report that we got from them was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. And they were at that point less than 5% owned of Bitfarms shares there. So I think within this last 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it's been, I think they probably sold out completely on it. NHUT, I hold IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, Cypher, and Applied. Which one you think I should hold for long term? IREN is looking more like that day in and day out. I think that might be a longer term hold. Cleanspark will have to wait and see how they do on their AI, right? How much will they be generating revenue from that? And that could change for them as well, that they could be a long term hold. Same thing goes for Bitfarms. Cypher already has a deal in place, so just can they get more deals going forward, or can they actually build out their own Neo Cloud? Excuse me. Applied Digital, that one, I'm not sure. I've seen they have deals with Core and somebody else, I think, as well. So that one might be a longer term hold if they can, grow even more than that from where they are now. That's kind of the way I would look at it. All right, Benny says, I think the market bottomed out today. I think so too. We might still be a little volatile early next week. We'll see where we end up next week though. NHUT, and which one you are buying now? Okay, I'm not buying anything now because you guys can see in the background, right? Studs, I got a bunch of stuff that I still have to do in the basement that all costs money. So any extra money that I would have had is going into that instead of the miners, which I want to get this done. I don't want to be in construction mode for more than a couple more months here. So I want to get this done and over with, and then I can relax and take it easy. Right now it's working a job, doing the construction after work, spending time with the kids, doing this show as well. I got a lot on my plate, so I want to get that done. So that's kind of where I'm plowing money into right now. But as you guys recall in the past, whenever there were dips, I would be buying at that point, right? If I had the cash, I was definitely buying whenever we did have a dip. So I'm thankful that I did that because that has allowed me to stack a lot of stocks, a lot of having great positions in a lot of these guys here, much lower prices. So I'm kind of now just waiting it out, see where they all go, which I think they're all going to go up much higher here I mean, not a short amount of time, but in the long run, they will go up much higher. All right. What do you think of people saying IREN is just running on promises and can't keep up with CoreWeave? Uh, okay. Well, CoreWeave is trying to buy out. Well, CoreWeave has a lot of contracts. I will give them that, right? So they have a lot more contracts than what IREN has. But the thing that CoreWeave doesn't have is infrastructure, sites, which they're trying to buy up right now through CORZ Scientific. So if IREN can capitalize on their own sites, build those out, and become a neo cloud themselves, then they could be actually even more valued than CoreWeave. CoreWeave's at what, like 60 billion right now, I think, something like that, whatever it is. And IREN, probably as of today, is probably down to what, maybe 14 billion or something like that, 14 and a half, 15 billion. It was last, I think it peaked at like 16 some billion. So it still has a ways to go to catch up to that valuation of CoreWeave. CoreWeave is running on, obviously, a lot of contracts that they have, but they also have a lot of debt, where IREN does not have that. All right, so there's some comparison there. All right, Emmett, do you think Bitfarms will use 500 million funds they got from convertible notes and financing the NVIDIA chips, or is it just to fund general corporate expenses as they stated? They stated it for general corporate expenses, but it could be also to buy, right? They are building out their pilot site in Panther Creek. And I don't know how many megawatts is that. Did they state that it was going to be like 15 megawatts or something like that? I can't remember now. Whatever it is. They could possibly do that as well, where they, buy some GPUs there for it and try to go that route. Right? They do, like I said, they do have somebody that worked at Amazon that is now on their board. It could be giving them some good advice there. We'll see. MT, why has IREN in particular chosen not to report every month? Are they hiding that they are reducing exahash for AI HPC computers when we will get a report? Thanks. Well, now we'll get a report quarterly, so they should report probably in about 2-3 weeks. For Q3, or for them it's going to be their Q1, but for us it's going to be Q3. Basically the reason they stopped providing those, my thought process on this is we've seen this with other companies that aren't growing their hash rate. So if they reach a certain point and they're not growing any further, they typically usually stop, and then especially if they're also pivoting to HPCI. We've seen that. So we've seen that with TeraWolf, we've seen that with Bitfarms, with Hut 8, with Core, right? So all of those guys, that's kind of what we're seeing. So I was kind of expecting that to happen. Didn't want it to happen, but it happened nonetheless. I thought maybe IREN would be the black sheep of the group and still continue to do that, but they didn't. And yeah, they could be moving exahash around while they're building out the data centers. So they could have some dips in amount of hash rate that's operating, right? But they're going to be generating possibly more revenue from the AI side of things, so that's okay. All right. MD, do you have an opinion on BTGD, stacked Bitcoin and gold ETF? I do not. I'd have to look into that one. I have no opinion right now on that as it is. Gary, if Mara went into HPCI, do you think their current data centers would use air-cooled or liquid-cooled Blackwell chips? They would use air-cooled. Their sites are not set up for liquid-cooled right now. Could they retrofit those? Yeah, they could retrofit them probably. And probably would even make some residents around the areas probably happy, right? Because we've heard obviously stories about Mara and the loud air-cooled ASICs that are driving some people crazy. So that would possibly be a good thing for, well, at least for the residents there that live by, and for the shareholders as well. All right, Jose, let's see here. Did you sell off all your Bitfarms a long time ago, Sebastian? I remember you talking about it. I didn't sell off all of it. I sold off 2/3 of it back in November and December of last year at that point, because of the guidance that we got for Bitcoin, right? They were supposed to get to 21 exahash by the end of last year, and then they moved that out to the end of the first half of this year, 2025. So at that point, I was like, okay, let's take a pause and then let's sell some shares, see how they continue to do. And then at that point, I also bought into more IREN shares and more Cleanspark shares as well at that point. But I still own 1/3 of that. So I still own, was it now 11,000 shares, something like that? 10,000? Can't remember. 10,000 or 11,000 shares I got in that. Sure. Question, by March 2026, what is the minimum price you believe Bitfarms should reach a price so reasonable that you'd be genuinely surprised if it doesn't hit at least that level. Around $10, I would think, right? Somewhere around there, I think would be the level I'd be looking for by, like you're saying, by March. If it doesn't get there, I'll be surprised if it doesn't get there. Question: if you think Hive chart is looking like a collapse, you think? Well, let's take a look at Hive's chart here, really quick. As a group here, let me pull it up really quick. Hive here as it is. Okay, let's take a look. All right, there we go. Browser on that one. Is it collapsing? I mean, no, it's had a nice run up here recently. So let's see, where is it? Let's take a look at the weekly here. I think it might be the better way to do it. On the weekly, we're probably going to be down here, but I mean, we saw a huge week the prior week. We were up at that point. Let's see, we're up 48%. We're down on this week 13%. So it's still not too bad, right? Being up 48%, being down 13%. So it's still, I don't think it's collapsing just yet. Everything kind of went down, obviously, this week. Some got beat up a little bit more than others, but I think some of these guys are still going to be in the green here for the week. So I don't think it's collapsing just yet. I think it's just a healthy pullback, right? And then we should be okay going forward, I think. I'm not seeing anything that's out of the ordinary here. I mean, RSI is still down in a healthy level right now as it is. And the weekly we saw that was coming back down also. So I don't think so. As long as other miners run, I think they will run as well. So I don't think that's going to be the case there. But yeah, I got up to 784. It's now at 571. And it had a nice bounce today also. So that's a good sign there. Having a nice bounce. So yeah, I don't think it's the end just yet. All right, going back here. Let's see. All right. Pete, question. Sorry, Seb. I just can't hold it in me any longer. You are making monumental and fundamental mistakes in your work, man. Why the hell aren't the studs behind you space 69 center? LOL. They are 69 center. They should be 69 center because that's what I did. 69 center on all these guys. Let's see. Jose says AI deal. You're talking about $10.09 for ASHAR. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. Jose says, I quit watching this guy when he said he's selling all his Bitfarms several months ago when Bitfarms was like $1. Who were you watching? Was it me? Because I didn't sell in the last couple of months. I sold last year when it was actually much higher price. I was actually in profit at that point. Jose LOL, Riot is out of Bitfarms. I believe so. That's the case there as well. MD, there are pundits that say 104 was the technical bottom and its low earlier today was 103.5. We can only hope that holds over the weekend. Yeah. It looks like it might be the technical bottom there, right around there. Jose writes, Riot are a bunch of posers just mimicking what the good companies are doing. I mean, they haven't had I'll be honest. I mean, Riot has not had a good track record here recently, at least. Right, trying to buy out Bitfarms. They bought the shares at a much higher price, and they sold the shares at a much lower price. It's like, why do that? That cost them a heck of a lot of money. That wasn't a good thing. But yeah, and then also the high compensation for management there, not a good look. So, and other things as well. Operations have not been that great also. All right, SH. Both didn't do convertible notes, so no dilution, only secured note, which more expensive, where the others did a convertible note, which it can lead to dilution. You can't compare both options. Oh, okay. Good point there. I did not catch that. You're right. They did a secured note instead of a convertible note. Okay. So so there's no dilution on that, but yeah, it's definitely more costly for them on that side. All right. Jose Bitfarms, the next IREN? Oh, no, not yet. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, though. Not anytime soon, at least. They need a heck of a lot more megawatts. Let's see, Jose, do you do your technical analysis? If you can't do that, you probably shouldn't be trading. Not sure who you're talking to there or who you're referring to. Michael, Bitcoin could be the bottom. Bitcoin could be the bottom. Could be hitting 106,040, but now looking at a chart could dip a little lower. That DJT rebound today to close green. Okay, See our hi Seb, greetings from Ireland. Awesome. Great to catch you live. Next leg up, but a little Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and Hive on the dip. 3 years in paying off. Awesome. That's awesome to hear. Thanks for coming in. Jose, when the dip comes, buy puts, then use the dollars to buy more shares. That's another way to do it. Victor, do you think Wolf is a good investment? For a longer term, I think it is. Right, as long as they continue to build out data centers, get deals, things like that, they are working in that direction. So I do think, I mean, obviously, them getting Fluid Stack and being backed by Google is a big vote of confidence there as well. All right. What else we got here? Rob, do the mining companies report mining rates regularly every month? Mining rates. For the most part, they do. Right? We still have quite a few companies that do that. In the past, we had even more companies doing that, but we're seeing less and less as they go into AI. As far as, yeah, they do report monthly, basically, for the most part. Most of these guys, at least. All right. CoreWeave and IREN again. I agree. IREN is a layer player that is horizontally integrated. Yes. Yep. Let's see. What else we got here? Garrett, IREN gets a 3 multiple with JP Morgan, while CoreWeave gets a 15 with JP Morgan. Pretty easy to see why Hut, Core, Bitfarms, and IREN stop Bitcoin reports. They just get punished being a miner. But that could be it also. Right? But maybe that will change over time. We'll see. All right, user on a gigawatt basis. Why does Bitfarms has higher market cap than its peers? You're talking about per gigawatt there of available power or potential power? As far as, I mean, Bitfarms is only valued at what now? 1.5 billion, 2 billion. What is it at now? Let's see. Bitfarms has about 500 million shares outstanding. It is at $5, so it's 2.5 billion, right? Which peers are you talking about as far as being their peers? I mean, Bitfarms being at what are they at? Like 17 exahash, 18 exahash right now, I think, for Bitcoin mining. And then if you include the sites they have, the megawatts they have what? Like 600 megawatts currently available to them. And then they're able to grow even more beyond that. Yeah, just let me know what you're comparing there, apples to apples wise. Steven, the miners are some of the best investment vehicles for growth this year and next. I believe stay away from most alts and memes in crypto. I believe they are trying to get rid of them. I'm of the same opinion as you are, right? I mean, alts for me, I lost money on alts, to be honest. I mean, I made some on like Dogecoin and things like that, but for the most part, when I tried trading some of the other alts in the past, ended up losing money on that. So, yeah, for me, it's either just Bitcoin and Ethereum or nothing else, basically. And then obviously the miners have turned out to be a really good play as well this time around, similar to what last time was, but this time is more on AI than anything else. YRed says, thanks, Sebastian. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. But are you all in crypto, or what's your percentage of portfolio is, for example, in S&P 500? Okay, let me read that again. Are you all in crypto, or what percentage of your portfolio is for example, in S&P 500? Okay. Right now, right now I have crypto, right, which you guys see in the beginning of the video each time. I got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, a little bit of Litecoin left in there, maybe, and some other stuff. So that portion of it is, I would say, 30% of my overall portfolio right now. The other stocks that I have, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Cypher, and IREN, are like 60%, 70% almost, right, of my portfolio right now, as it is as far as market value or cash value as it would be. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at on it. And if you include also my retirement account, well then, geez, crypto would be only about, at that point, roughly 10%. Yeah, it'd be like 10% at that point, maybe even less than that, 8%, something like that. Can't talk about that. Michael, DGT bottom could bend today. Should do research that I did. Has 2.3 Bitcoin to have coins and tokens that close at 1619. Okay. BR, what's your price prediction for IREN going into the end of the year? Probably close to $100, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. Actually, between $80 and $100 is kind of where I'd like to see it. But question, seriously, MSTR chart is looking very tempting right now, right? I mean, not really. I mean, this thing has been a dog ever since last year when it peaked at $540. If you look at MSTR here, I mean, look at this thing. Here you can see it. Let's see, going all the way back to last year, right? We peaked here, and it's just, I mean, they've been buying up more Bitcoin. They have more on hand than they've ever had in the past, and they continue to buy more. And yet, Bitcoin price has come up a little bit. Obviously, it hasn't been doing that great for this year, basically. But it's still, it's underperforming for sure. And I mean, but that's the thing is, right? Strategy was obviously a huge hype. I mean, how much did it go over there? From, where was this? From September of 2024 to just November, it went up like 300 some odd percent. It had a huge run at that point. And it cooled off, went down quite a bit, which at that point, if you guys recall, if you guys were watching me at that point, I said, you know, at 540, this thing is overextended way beyond from where it should be on the MNEV. MNEV was crazy at that point. So I said it should cool off, and sure enough, within a couple of days, it started cooling off at that point. As far as where it can go forward, I mean, I don't know. Like I said before, MicroStrategy has the MSTR ticker. It's got the STRC ticker. It's got some other tickers as well in there on it. I think it's just got too many things, too many tickers for one. And yeah, I think it's just, there's other companies that are doing it as well. Metaplanet, I mean, if you look at Metaplanet as well, that thing has been going down, has not been doing great, right? Look at from the peak, got to a high of 1,130, and it's just been a constant slide down, even though they've been buying more Bitcoin as well. So I don't know if the treasury companies are going to perform that well going forward. One, because there's so many of them. I mean, same thing for Semler here, right? Semler Scientific got to 81.56. It's at 23. It's down basically, what, 75% from where it was. So I don't know. Right, Bitcoin's going up obviously much slower this time around. We're not seeing those huge peaks. I think that's what drove strategy up, was Bitcoin's volatility and huge spikes to the upside. We're not seeing that right now. It's being more muted. Yep. So that's just my take on it. I could be wrong, and you know, strategy could rocket from here. Completely possible. You just never know. But that's just kind of what I'm seeing here on it, and that's kind of my thoughts on it, at least. All right. Victor, Wolf versus Cypher, which one more upside? Ooh. Good question there. Man, I really don't know. It could be a toss-up between those two right now, to be honest. Wolf's had a nice run. Cypher's had a nice run as well. It's just who gets deals now, I guess. That's going to be the question there. Whoever gets the most deals is going to be the one that's going up higher. All right. JD, have you looked into nuclear energy at all? With how much AI energy demand, nuclear innovation seems like a no-brainer. I've looked into like some of those small modular reactors, right, companies. There's a couple of them that are public right now, or going public, but this was probably a couple months back, actually. Probably need to revisit that again to see where things are on that. That looks very interesting to me also. There's also other companies that are in this space that are trying to do, gosh, what was it? There was one that was interesting. It was the guys from Tesla that started this recycling company for batteries, but then they're using batteries that still have life in them to charge them up through solar, and they're powering up a data center for AI, right? That's also kind of interesting there. What was it? Redwood Industries or Redwood something, I think. And that one, that's another interesting one as well. But I think that one is still private. They're probably going to be going public here in next year or so, something like that. So yeah, I'm looking at other things as well, trying to see where things are going. All right, LG question. Kramer just this evening said to sell IREN during the lightning round. He said insider and management are doing to sell more shares soon. What do you think? We don't know if management's going to be selling it unless they already have things on the books written down that they're going to be selling at certain price points, maybe. But we've already seen, obviously, management sell some. Dan and Robert there, or Dan and Will, both have sold, what has it been, 4 weeks now ago? 5 weeks ago? I can't remember. But they have sold a little bit there. But that's okay. I mean, the stock has had a nice run up here, so I'm okay with them selling a little bit to take some profits, which is fine. But do the inverse, right? Usually people say whatever Jim Cramer says, do the inverse of that, and you'll end up doing much better here. So, this could be a good thing. IREN could run up for us. Okay, LG says, I can tell you I know the opposite of what he says. Yeah, that is true. Let's see what else we hear. Rob, hey, said before I forget, but are there companies that are specifically in AI HPC data centers? If so, can we do a comparison on those companies versus the miners that are getting into AI HPC data center? Yeah, there's, gosh, what was the one that just got bought out? So there was one, Allied, got bought out, right, for $40 billion. That one got bought out, so we can, that one wasn't public. That one was private. Who else? Nimbus is another one, right? That's in there. You got also, was it Iron Mountain, I think is another one, possibly. There's a couple other ones in there as well. We could look it up to see what's there. But a lot of times we don't know how many megawatts they have. They don't report it sometimes, so it's a little bit tougher to find out. But the miners, the miners were bragging about how many megawatts they're, accumulating and things like that. Some of these other guys are a little bit more hush. Plus, they have sites that are, smaller, 5, 7, 10, maybe 15 megawatt sites, and they need to be retrofitted as well in order to take advantage of the newer chips, which need direct-to-chip cooling. So it's going to be an interesting time here. Let's see here. MD, is the news about these regional banks showing cracks with bad loans, nothing but FUD? Market has PTSD from 2007 and it tanked the markets Thursday. That could be it. There was only one or two that I heard about, right? One of them had defaulted, somebody had defaulted on a bank loan that was like 50 million. It's 50 million. It's still not that bad, but it's a regional bank, so obviously that's going to be a big hit to them possibly. We saw, what was it? That bank in California. Geez, what was the name of the bank there? Silicon Valley Bank or something like that. That one got hit. Remember that? That was 2 years ago now, something like that. They got bailed out, basically bought out by somebody else there. So these things happen from time to time. I don't think it's an indication of things to come. Not yet, at least. All right. Gary Kramer's pumping. CoreWeave hates other neoclouds. He will be wrong as usual. CoreWeave going all in on hoppers was a stupid long-term move. Okay, yeah, that's true there. Let's see. Michael says DGHI owns a lot of different companies and partnerships that use to sell Bitcoin and tokens. They got a lot of stuff going on there. Ricky, question, if you had to guess which miner gets an HPC AI contract next, I'm guessing probably Cypher there, to be honest. Let's see. If Bitfarms announced they are buying NVIDIA or AMD GPUs to make Washington completely serviced by them, then it can follow IREN path to be the next IREN. Huge trading volume can move Bitfarms way higher. Well, that would be true, but they also need to lock in some more megawatts, I think, as well. Right? IREN's got about 3 gigawatts. Right now, Bitfarms is about 700 to 800 megawatts, something like that, I think. But they do have potential to get more later on, but that's not going to be until sometime probably late 2026, 2027. So there's a little bit, and then you got to obviously wait for that. Then you got to build out the sites. So they're going to be a little bit behind there in IREN at least. All right. Let's see, Didi says, Metaplan is kind of tempting considering you're getting Bitcoin at a discount now. Though, no. Yeah, you are. But what if they don't go back to having those huge multiples on the MNAV? What if it's just stuck there? And they keep buying, they keep diluting, right? Whether it's through convertible notes or other things. Look, I love the fact that they're buying up Bitcoin like crazy, all those companies, but if I want to buy Bitcoin, I buy Bitcoin myself directly. I wouldn't go into a company that is buying it for me. All right. Okay. User says, hey, sorry, I meant Bitfarms' current power to its market cap. It's much higher than others like Cleanspark or Riot. Is the market cap also factoring power pipeline or other? That I don't know. I think it's also factoring in the other assets, which Bitfarms has, nice sites in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a great area because you have a large metropolitan area around there, right? Around 30 million plus people within the vicinity. So it's one of the biggest areas there. That's why I think it's getting rated on that. And, they got $300 million in project financing as well. So they're doing all the right things going in that direction here. But the other miners in the past were getting valued more so on their Bitcoin mining side of things as well, because Cleanspark and IREN were getting at one point like $1 billion in annual run rate for Bitcoin mining, whereas Bitfarms was much lower than that. All right. Boss says, if Kimmer said to sell IREN, then the only direction IREN will go is up. Yep. There literally is a study on Kramer. Every time he said to sell, the stock went up 29% on average following in 12 months. Okay. Yeah. So do the inverse, do the opposite. All right. SH says, I'm 100% on Bitfarms with 159,000 shares. I don't believe in diversification. I mean, that's gangster right there, right? Going hard on one and having the conviction in there. That's awesome. All right. Boss says, inverse Kramer is working. Yeah. Talked about that many, many times. Victor C, does Wolf have sites like Cypher? No, but they're getting sites. I think right now, right, with Cypher you have, or with Wolf you have Paul Prager, they're the CEO that owns like sites with power companies. So you could just sell those off to Wolf if you wanted to there, and it's kind of done that already a little bit. So that's different there. But Cypher does have quite a large pipeline and an in-development pipeline, 4 megawatts right now as it is. So we'd have to really compare apples to apples. Well, we'd have to look at the data very, very closely to see where they are together. And that might be something I do. All right, Victor, question is, Okolo, a strong buy at 160. I don't know enough about Okolo to really tell you, so I'll refrain from that one. All right, Robin, I'm with you on Bitfarms. In my opinion, it will run up to 686 fairly fast and then head to 1188. Okay, that's awesome. Chilaxin, GTI stock is a company that manufactures artificial graphite and graphene from palm kernel shells. Okay. I know we need graphite and graphene, I believe, in the chips, right? Victor, question, I like Wolf because they have nuclear power. That is true. I believe that's true. But yeah, I think that's true. Gary, IREN management first layer of compensation kicks in at 75. They deserve it. Other miners just took it regardless. Share price kept dropping. Good for IREN management. I didn't believe 75 was in the 20. Yeah, neither did I. But yeah, if they can get it at that point, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Meat Force question: Solana will be $10 in that. I don't know. We'll see where that one goes. That one has been a strange horse here this time. All right. JD, NNE, SMR, and Terra were interesting reads for nuclear innovation. Okay. Those are ones I'll have to take a look at. Rob, everyone keeps talking about Bitfarms, but lesser so with Hive. Aren't Hive and Bitfarms arch nemesis companies doing the same thing? Kind of similar things, right? Hive has sites outside of the United States, nothing in the United States. They got sites in Canada, Argentina, and in Europe. And I mean, Bitfarms had sites in Argentina. They sold their site to Hive there, and they're focusing more on the United States, which I think is probably the better play there. If you focus on the United States, there's more capital probably to be given for that alone. There's some differences, but there are some similarities obviously as well. They were both Canadian-based companies there, or still are. Yeah, there still are. Let's see, Victor, you didn't know that about Wolf. Going to have to do a deeper dive. Yeah, I don't know if it's Wolf that owns it or if it's Paul Prager and his companies that own it there. Victor C, please can you do a comparison Cypher and Cypher for your next video? Thank you. Cypher and Wolf, you mean? And others? If I have the time this weekend, I'll do that. We'll see. But wasn't your top 3 miners IREN, Cleansparks right now? Yes, they were my top 3 miners. Or no, my top 3 miners for me were IREN, Cleanspark, and Bitfarms, and then I added Cypher here recently as well. So, but yeah. User says, thank you for sharing your insights, Seb. You're very welcome. Victor, hey JD, I like nuclear power for AI. Yeah. Chillaxing, if we do all get rich one day from these stocks, where will we all meet up for a grand celebration? We're talking about that actually on the Discord server that we have through the Patreon membership there. We're talking about that. We're thinking about maybe like Nashville or like Las Vegas or something like that. But that's still a ways out, right? We'll see if anything comes of that. Gary says, I'd like a comparison of IREN with IREN. Okay. mistyping there a little bit. All right, we've got up to all your guys' questions here. It's going on at 11 o'clock. We're going on an hour already as it is. We'll call it a day, call it a weekend. Hopefully everybody had it wasn't a great weekend. It was an okay week for us, right? Miners are still up for the most part for the week. We obviously had the last 2 days were rough, but for the most part, we were still probably up. So be thankful for that. And JD says, no, Vegas, we'll lose it all there. Well, don't take all of it there. Just take $100 with you, and that's it. That's all you can lose. But yeah, we'll see on that. I wish you guys, a great weekend. Go outside, enjoy it while we still can. And yeah, we'll be back on Sunday. We'll start covering everything back up on next week. See where we go. Be patient. That's the only thing I can say is be patient, and we'll be back to new highs before we probably know it. All right, that is it. Love you all. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.